up, everybody? Welcome to the Tremain Show. I'm Tremain Davis, and today we're going to be talking about how to earn customers for life. All right, how to earn customers for life. All right, this is a big topic because, your customers are ultimately the lifeblood of your business. You have no customers, guess what? You have no business. I don't know if you watch Shark Tank. Anybody out here that watches Shark Tank? Mark Cuban says this all the time. He's one of the sharks on Shark Tank. He's like, listen, sales cures everything. I don't care what kind of business you are. You could be selling lipstick for a pig. If you tell me you've got $2 million in revenue selling lipstick to a pig, I'm listening. If you can quickly identify, who that target customer is and the problem that you're solving there, and you sold a bunch of it, like, listen, I'm going to listen. So how do you get customers for life? How do you get customers who really, really, really love what you're doing and they keep coming back for more, telling other people to come back and use your product and service? All right, let's talk about that. So I'll start here. So first and foremost, you have to think about your customers in terms of what they need. All right. This is like big on design thinking. All right. So design thinking, I'm not going to go all into it, but the first part of design thinking is based on, I think, 4 or 5 principles. But the first principle of design thinking, I'm sure you've heard of design thinking. The first principle of it is empathy. All right. That's what I'm getting to with all this. It's not a design thinking topic, but we can do a whole video about that. But the first piece of it is empathy. And what empathy means is that you're able to put yourself in somebody else's shoes. So as your customer, you have to think about, if I was the one purchasing my own product or my service, I'm putting myself in my customer's shoes, would I like how it's being delivered? Would I like how it's being, executed? Would I like how I'm being engaged with by this company? All right. So using empathy, putting yourself in your customer's shoes. You have to understand that the customer is actually the thing that's driving your business forward. All right. So first, do you love your customers? We always say we would prefer to have, customers that love us than customers that just okay or like us or could live or not without our product or service. We want customers that love us, and even on that point, a lot of times people will say, what if I've got, 1,000 customers? I always say, how many of those 1,000 customers could not live without your product or service? It's always better to have 100 customers that absolutely love your product or service than 1,000 customers that, take it or leave it. It's okay. You don't want those 1,000. You want 100 customers that actually love your product or service. All right. So if you want customers to love your product or service, guess what? You got to love them. You love your customers, So what's an example of this? All right, here's a good example. So a lot of times founders, especially early stage founders, they'll want to do some marketing. They'll send out a marketing email, and they'll send like a blast email out to a whole bunch of different folks, whether it's on LinkedIn or all these different places that they're accessing these folks. But they'll send a blast email out to 1,000 people. I hear this all the time. I've emailed 1,000 people and I only got, 5 responses back. So that must mean that my product or my service is not good. I'm doing something wrong, et cetera, et cetera. So then we'll go and look at the email, and it'll be a template email, blanket email, and it'll just have one word of customization to it. So it's a blanket email. Then it'll just change the word, at the front, hi Sam to hi Cindy. You know what I'm saying? And you just sent it out to everybody. And it's like, okay, if you put yourself in your customer's shoes and you got this email, would you respond to this email? If you just use empathy, this is what we're talking about here. If you put yourself in your customer's shoes, if you put yourself in the person who's receiving this email's shoes, would you respond to this email? Here's the funny part. When I pose that question to founders, as we're talking about this, like 99.9% of them, like overwhelmingly, they say, No, I wouldn't respond to it. Like, I get spam emails like this all the time, and I always just put them in, I archive them, I delete them, I keep it moving. It is always the funniest thing. It's like, wait a minute, you just sent this email out, and you yourself, you're saying that you wouldn't even respond to an email like this. This is what I mean about, do you love your customers? All right. Are you doing things that, are engaging in a I don't know, thoughtful way with your customers? We want our customers to love us and love the products and services, love our ideas, love the things that we're trying to do with our business. But do we love our customers? Are we doing things that are actually going to get them engaged with the things that we're doing? So that's just an example that I get all the time, and it's a funny one, but it's true. How many times have you as a founder sent like a blanket email to all these people, and you wonder why you're not getting the response that you wanted? All right. So like, that's the type of thing that you have to be much more thoughtful about. But if you just pan back and think, in multiple places of your business or in your value chain, the complete, picture of your business, what other things that you do like that, where it's not necessarily showing the love. It's not necessarily showing your customers that you really, 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 really appreciate them. All right. So this is some things that you can think about when you think about, how do you have long-term customers? How do you keep customers for life? Like, this is the stuff that is meaningful for them. All right. We did a whole video about doing free things to validate your ideas. One of the things that we talked about in that video was customer discovery. All right. So if you haven't seen that video, go back and watch it. But the piece of it that I think applies to this as well is the customer discovery piece. You want to always be asking your customers, always be thinking about your customers in terms of, what can you do to understand them more? What can you do to really, really, really nail into the problem that you're trying to solve for them? If a customer feels like, and this is something that, Simon Sinek says all the time. He's a great, great, great business leader. If you've never heard of Simon Sinek, write that name down and read his books. He's got tons of books. I personally like his book called Start with the Why. That was a great book. Then he's also got another book called The Infinite Game, another phenomenal book. So Simon Sinek, great leader. He says all the time that business is not about what you do for the customer, it's how you made that customer feel when you were doing it. All right. That is a very profound statement, because you want your customers to feel like you care. You want them to feel like you'll go the extra mile to make sure they have a good experience with your business, with your brand, with the products and services that you are deploying to them. This is why companies spend so much money with the unboxing process. You've heard of that. When a customer gets your product in the mail, what is the experience that they have when they're taking the product out of the packaging and holding it up for the very first time? Does it look like, what they saw on the website, et cetera, et cetera? There's this bracelet comes to mind. So I taught a small business boot camp, and one of the businesses in there was this business owner, and she makes bracelets, custom bracelets, and it's, type of thing. And so, I said, hey, I love bracelets, give me your information, and I'll go on the website, and, if I see anything, I'll certainly order it. I always like to support small businesses when I can. And I do like bracelets. So, I wasn't, being disingenuous. I really did say, hey, I want to check it out. So she did. And so I went on the website, and, I think, if I'm thinking about it correctly, I think her target audience is really more women, but she did have a small section on her website for men. And so she didn't have a lot of options. So I was like, well, let me just order something. So I went through the options for men. I saw this bracelet on the website, right? It was not flattering. The pictures were not flattering on the website, right? But I wanted to support, and I didn't like the other options. This one was like, okay, if I'm gonna get any of them, I'm gonna get this one. Now, when I actually got the product in the mail, it was amazing. It completely like exceeded my expectations. The box that it came in was really nice. It had a handwritten note, thank you type of thing. I opened it up, and like the bracelet, when I saw it in real life, the pictures did not do it justice. What I saw on the website was way less flattering than when I actually got it out of the box and put it on my wrist. I love this freaking bracelet, man. I wear it like all the time. And so I really, really, really like the product, but I didn't get that same love for it when I was just looking at it on the website. And so I told her that. I said, hey, you got to find a way to connect the dots here, because the experience I got when I unboxed it, I love this bracelet. I wear it all the time, but I didn't love it when I looked at it on the website. Anyway, that's just one story. But the point I'm trying to make is, I am going to be a customer for life. And so as a thank you, she sent me another bracelet. She was just like, listen, I appreciate, of course, you teaching this business boot camp. I learned a lot, but thank you for ordering this product. Thank you for giving me feedback about how I can make this business better. And then she sent me an additional bracelet, which I do like. I love the color of it. It wasn't even featured on her website. It's a new product that she's releasing. And she gave it to me first. Like, now I am locked in as a customer. I love her business. I love her small business. I'm going to order tons and tons of bracelets for her, from her and her business. All right. That is what I mean by, how do you get customers for life? What are the little things that you're able to do to make your customers really, really, really love you? Is it in the customer service? Is it in the product delivery? Is it in the customer engagement piece of it? Is it like, where are the ways that you can innovate so that you can get your clients to really, really, really love you, your customers to really, really, really love you? Again, you want 100 customers that love you versus 1,000 that can live without you. All right, here's the last thing I'll say about this particular topic is that if you do get customers that are engaged and customers that really, really, really love your product and service, guess what? They will tell other people. And there is no better, I'm telling you, Instagram, TikTok, there is no social media, there is no Google, ads and Google rankings. There is no marketing campaign that can replace a customer who has bought your product or service, who has experienced the product or service, has engaged with you, has taken their hard-earned money. They go to work from 9 to 5 every day, and they took their hard-earned money out of their pocket or out of their wallet or pocketbook, gave it to you for a product or service, and loved it so much that they decided to now tell somebody else about it. There is no marketing campaign that can replace that type of referral, all right? And that's what it does. That's what it starts, the chain of effects that it starts when you have customers who love you. All right, so how do you get customers for life? You gotta make them love you. How do you make them love you? You make your customers love you by you loving them. You gotta love on your customers. You gotta go the extra mile. You gotta do those little small touch points that makes them feel good, that builds trust in your brand and all of these types of things, That is the stuff. You can't get lazy when it comes to loving your customers. You can't send out the blanket marketing email and just change one word in it and send it out to 1,000 people. That's not something that you can do. Now, if you're talking about like a newsletter or something like that, that's fine. But I'm talking about something where you really want to engage with them, a call to action that you're trying to connect with your customers on. Like, don't do it that way. There's a friend of mine, and I think this is something that is really, really, really cool. But she's got a company in the CPG space, and she does something online called learning. What does she call it? Learning in public, or something along those lines, where she just gets on and does these lives on Instagram, and she just talks about things that her customers have told her and how she's making differences, what she's learned by talking to that customer, and these types of things. And she calls it learning in public, or learning in front of everybody, something along those lines. But guess what? That has really, really, really been impactful when it comes to showing her customers that she really loves them and she really values their feedback. And so I tell her all the time, listen, when you do these segments on Instagram, I love watching them because the transparency that you're able to exhibit to your customers and showing that you're listening to them, like that is something that's invaluable to you really building a rapport with those customers. And ultimately, they'll be customers for life, and not only that, they'll tell other people that they need to support your product and or your service. She said, just to close the loop on that conversation, that now, she's getting her customers to fight the haters in the comments. Because, anytime you're on social media, there's always going to be haters in the comment, always got something to say. She said because of how transparent she's been and how she's engaged with her customers and how much her customers love her product or service, guess what? They go back at the haters in the comments and say, you ain't gonna be talking about this founder because I love their product, I love their service, and it's done this for me, and they listen, and I will recommend this to anybody. And like, that's what you want. That is a founder who has found a way to love their customers, and ultimately she's getting it back, and the customers love her and love her product or service. All right, that's it for today. This is how you build customers for life. This is an important topic that every founder needs to be thinking about, because you don't want customers that like your product. You want customers that love your product. All right, I'm Tremain Davis, and I'll see you all in the next one. Peace.